welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, as part of our Saratoga Daily Stakes posting, we're going to take a look at the Birdstone, which is on Thursday's card, and it's a marathon. It's a real interesting race, so let's take a look at it. The Birdstone is an ungraded stakes run on the dirt at 1.75 miles for 4-year-olds and up. So it's a marathon, and you look at the configuration, you see they're going to have 3 turns on this one, and it starts on the backstretch. So let's take a look. Number 1 is Seafoam. Right off the bat, you notice he's a horse for the course. He's got 4 wins in 2 seconds and 7 starts, so obviously he likes Saratoga. Has yet to run at the distance, but he is by Medaglia d'Oro, and he's got Unbridled Song underneath, so I think he'll get it. He's a need-to-lead type. He's going to go right for the lead from the rail and try to take them all the way. Now, his last race in the Commentator, which was also an ungraded stakes for Statebreds, he wasn't able to get the job done. You see, he faded late in the stretch, but it was first off a fairly long layoff, so we can expect better, I think, this time. And also, I think the track will pick him up as often it does with horses who like Saratoga. Joel Rosario's riding pretty well right now, so and he knows this horse. He's ridden him before, you see, so I think this one will be in the mix. The Skipper 2 is coming up from Gulfstream, and I think it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you got Ismael Yaramillo made the trip as well, and that's his normal rider for the last couple. And you see that his form is pretty good for the last couple. They're not quite at the stakes level, but he's in good form, and that's the main thing. His pedigree doesn't scream long distances, but he is in good form, and I think that'll probably put him just off the pace and likely under. And he's got a puncher's chance if there's too much pace up front. Number 3 is Treasure Trove, and Lynn Cash brings this one up, the leader in frequent flyer miles in the United States. He's got Javier Castellano aboard, and this one's going to go turf to dirt. And you know, he's okay. I mean, he's performed fairly well. His form hasn't been the greatest prior to the layoff, and he came off the bench and didn't really run the greatest race next out. So he would have to improve mightily, I think, to get involved in this race, and I'm not going to take the chance, so I'm going to let him go. Number 4 is Dash Attack, and it's Kenny McPeak. He's very good with ungraded stakes. But there's a couple of things. Number 1, this one's by Munnings. Now, Munnings is a great sire at Saratoga, but long distances are not what he does. And you get Hardspun underneath, who is pretty good at about 1.1 miles, and after that, it's kind of spec. So you get Erod Ortiz. You'd certainly have to think that's a good sign. And this one just is coming off an option 100 win. So his form isn't bad. I mean, the only thing I would say is he's kind of plateaued since his 3-year-old campaign when he won the Smarty Jones at second asking. Really hasn't moved forward from there. And also, you're losing Lasix. Now, with Kenny McPeak, that's normally a big-time red flag because his horses don't generally run well off of Lasix. But this one has run before off without it. So I'm not going to hold that too much against him. Really, more than anything else, it's the pedigree, and I would be really surprised if this one factors in this race. Number 5 is Time for Trouble, and I really like this horse's chances. He can run on, we've seen him of late on turf for the most part in graded stakes, where he hasn't fared terribly well, but you're getting some class relief here. And if you go 2 back at Keeneland, he ran a nice race in an option 80, which is probably more conducive or commensurate with the class you're getting here. So I think he might be a pretty good fit. The other thing I really like is his pedigree. English Channel and Starstruck or Galileo underneath. He's got pedigree to run all day, and I think the distance should suit him, particularly with the class relief. Should be rating right behind the leaders, and he can rate. He's been on the lead on occasion this year, but he can stay off the pace, as you saw at that option 80 at Keeneland that he won. So I think sitting off the leaders, and there's a lot of pace in this race, I think he's got a really good chance to take this one down. You get a nice price at 10-1. Number 6 is Lone Rock,
And he has run in this race before last year or 2 years ago, and he actually won it. So we'll have to assume that he can get the distance. He's another need the lead type, and you got three of them in here, so it should make for an interesting race up front. He has rated before, so it's not impossible for him to do it. But that last race, the Isaac Murphy, wasn't a very good start at all. And so with the freshening, I mean, I think he probably will be in better form. I'm just not confident that he'll have enough to take this one down. I think under is probably more likely, especially with the other early speed. Number 7 is next, and of course we remember the Brooklyn Handicap, his last race where he just took him gate to wire and with seeming ease. This horse is a long distance specialist, and excuse me, probably the best in the long distance division of the marathon division. So he certainly would be a candidate to win. There's only one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, is that if you go back to his start 3 back at Keeneland at a mile and 3/8, he ran a huge race, and his biggest ever, and he got a really big class rating, and he dominated the field. But you look at the next one, the Isaac Murphy, seemed to have taken a little something out of him. So if you consider the Brooklyn was a big race as well, not quite as big as the one at Keeneland, but it was a big race. I think maybe he's going to get a little bit of a letdown here. Now, you can say that the Isaac Murphy, he was coming off a fairly decent layoff, so that's certainly part of it. And Bill Collins is a nice trainer, so I mean, he wouldn't bring him up here if he didn't think he had a chance. And I certainly think he has a chance to win this race. But what I'm concerned about is all the other early pace that's going to be jockeying for the lead, and he won't have it easy on the engine all by himself. With that considered, I think this isn't necessarily the greatest of spots for him, but there's certainly no denying his track record, and he certainly have to be considered as one of the prime win candidates here. So let's take a look at our top 5 for the Birdstone Stakes. Number 1 is Time for Trouble. I'm going to try to beat next. Time for Trouble's coming in pretty decent form. He's getting class relief, and I think that's the big ticket for him. He can rate. He has run on the lead recently, but he can rate, and he did so 2 back on a dirt effort. So I think he'll be sitting behind the leaders, and at the top of the stretch, I think he's got a really good chance to take him down. And at 10-1, I think that's a really nice price. Number 2 is next. Certainly a monster in the marathon distances. He's going to try to take them all the way. He's certainly capable of doing it. Wouldn't be surprised if he wins whatsoever. But he had a big effort in the Brooklyn Handicap, and by his prior record, after he has these big efforts, he does regress a little bit. So I'm thinking that he might regress slightly here. And if he does, I think Time for Trouble has a really good chance to beat him. Number 3 is Seafoam. He's a horse for the course, likes to be on the front end as well. He can also rate if necessary. And he wasn't coming into the race in the greatest form, but I think the track's going to pick him up, and I'm confident he's going to run a good race, probably be under without any difficulty. Number 4 is Lone Rock, another one who wants to lead but can rate. I'm just not certain he's quite good enough to pull this one off, but he's got just as good a chance as the others, just like some others a little better. And then number 5, we're going to go with the Skipper 2. He's in really good form, and they didn't ship him up here from Florida without a reason. And that's really the pretty good indicator that this one's going to run a good race. I'm not sure he can get the distance. That's really the issue more than anything else. But he is in good form, so he's got a chance coming up from off the leaders. You never know. He just might be able to pull it off. And you are getting 10-1, but I like Time for Trouble's chances a little better. So that's the top 5 for the Birdstone. If you like content like this, you can go on over to our website at rightatthewire.com. We've got daily selections. We've got full card analysis for the weekends and 2-year-old maiden analysis every day, all for Saratoga. So if you're playing the Spa, it might be a good place to go on over and take a look. If you do like what you see here, of course, please like and subscribe, and we do thank you for coming by. Wish you the best of luck in your wagering, and I hope this helps you. We will continue with our daily stakes postings right here at the YouTube channel. Every day they have a stakes race at Saratoga, so we'll cover that for you. And we'll have special weekend coverage for the bigger events that are happening, so you have plenty of reasons to come back, and I hope you do. For those of you who have been here so far, thanks so much for your support. We really appreciate it, and welcome to you newcomers as well. I'll be talking to you in the very near future, and until then, be well.